So, this big, fluffy wreath. This one. It's a big, crazy wreath. Okay? See if I can pull it back. It's big, it's giant, it's fluffy. Would you believe it's made from a plastic tablecloth and a wire frame and some scissors. So this is the one that is really inexpensive, but it is a little bit time consuming. So this is just one of the rectangular tablecloths you can get like at the dollar store or at party store. I cut it so it's folded like in fourths, in half and in half again. So I cut down the folded edge, and then I'd have two pieces, and then I'd cut down the foot. Anyway, so I ended up with 4 long, like the length of the tablecloth strips, and then I cut this way. As I was unfolding the tablecloth, I was like, oh, that's a good length for tying. And then it just worked out really well to just cut along the folds and have this be the length. Okay, so for example, so let's say we cut all of that up. It takes a couple minutes. Then I end up with a stack of tablecloth pieces. Like so. So, plastic tablecloth. Let's see how big that is. I have a ruler. It is about 3 inches, 3.5 inches by, it's very flimsy. It doesn't want to be measured. By about 13 inches. Not that it really matters, but just cut it one in a way that's easy for you to cut because it takes a while. But I would say 3 by 12, 3 by 13. It's a good size. I have made this before with bandanas, but the plastic tablecloth, man, it's so inexpensive. It's time consuming, so inexpensive. I used about 4 tablecloths, plastic, to make the wreath. So your wire wreath is kind of divided into like 4 quarters. Okay, so, and then there's 4 lines. So obviously I tie, oh, and you just tie it. Like literally you put it around the wire and you tie it. And that's how you make the wreath. Over and over again. Okay, so this little tie. I did, for this size wreath base, I tied 15 strips along this small, the innermost wire line, okay, 15. Then I did 20, then I did 25, and then I did 30. And I did that all the way around. Now, I just started tying these little strips in this one quadrant on the smallest part. And about 15 fit without them being squished. So that's how I decided on 15. Depending on how wide you cut your strips, maybe you need more, maybe you need less. I would recommend starting in one quadrant and tying just that innermost line and see how many fit comfortably. Then you want to increase it in each subsequent as you're expanding, right? Okay, so I said, so I did 15 here, 20 here, 25 here, and 30 here. I didn't do the math. Adds a lot of plastic strips to cut up. Like I said, it used not 4 full tablecloths, but I had to open 4 plastic, what are these? 54 inches by 108 inches. So I had to open 4 of that size plastic tablecloth to cover my whole thing. Okay, so let's look at the back side of this guy. Okay, it's very, very fluffy. All right, so you can see, as I use like my chin to hold it down, you can see the 4 lines of the wire wreath. This is the back side of the wreath. So just knotted 15, 20, 25, 30. Flip it around. Oh my goodness, it's so fluffy. You could do this in whatever colors you wanted. I have a senior who is graduating, or whatever form of, whatever version of graduation is happening in this year of 2020. So I am kind of, it's May, I'm sort of in like graduation party mode at the moment. Trying to figure out what that's gonna look like. Anyway, I'm rambling, but point is, I picked his high school colors to do a fun wreath, and then I'm gonna add like his mascot thing in the middle, and it'll be super cute. And honestly, he's a boy, he doesn't care, but I'm excited for him. So, tying all the things. All right, now, I did not finish this, so we could do it together. I know you're so excited. I did everything except this one last quadrant on the top. So, just gonna show you how easy this is. I mean, you're literally just tying it. That's it. That's as hard as it gets. Actually, the hardest part is cutting the strips, the plastic pieces. But as I said, so I unfolded the tablecloth and I just cut along kind of the folds, and I just used sort of the width that it was when I unfolded it. I was like, oh, that looks like a good width. It worked, it was great. So you'll start on the innermost section and sort of just see how many fit, and then you increase as you start working outside of your wire wreath, working to the outside edge. And you start in the middle because it's so fluffy. It would be hard, I mean, you could start wherever you wanted, but I find it easier to start and then work to the outside, because then I have room to work. Does that make sense? Instead of if I started on the outside edge and worked to the center, it just, I don't know, would be more difficult. Seems like it would be more difficult. And it's super big and fluffy. I will say that when you're starting on it, you're gonna feel like when you first, especially when you do just kind of the first, see if I can, when you're working on this first row, this innermost row, I don't know if you can see it, it hangs down because, you know, gravity. And it's easy to feel like, oh, that's not gonna look good because it's all flopping down. But once you add those rows on top, it just gets so big that it fluffs up. And you don't have to worry about it. So, there's our big fluffy wreath. I mentioned I'm gonna do, it's my son's, his high school colors, so I'm gonna do like his mascot in the middle, and do probably class of 2020 or something on it, and hang that on our door. But there it is, and here's the back again, and it's just knots.